What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today we've got another live fantasy football mock draft for you back on Yahoo with a 10-team half-point PPR mock where we will be selecting from the 8th overall position. You can see we've got the setup all ready to go. And while we wait, a quick reminder, if you enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe. Let us hear it in the comment section along with any questions you guys might have. We will do our best to answer them all. And lastly, make sure to check us out online at alldaypigskin.com. And while you're there, get yourself a copy of the 2021 ADP Fantasy Football Draft Guide. Everything you could want at a great value. Top 150 overall player ranking standard and PPR formats, individual player bios, tiers, projections, and general fantasy advice. Details in the description. But with that being said, let's get into this draft because 3 picks have been made, and they are as follows: Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry. No problem with that whatsoever. Then you see a bit of a surprise, however, with Jonathan Taylor, 4th overall. So I feel like I say this very frequently at this point in time, but with the situation in Indianapolis, with Carson Wentz going to miss, a decent amount of time, I'm not drafting Jonathan Taylor all that high, coupled with the fact that Quentin Nelson will also miss time. And that just spells Jonathan Taylor falling outside of the first round, let alone being a top 4 pick. I think that is, it's a reach. That's what I want to call it. That's what I think it is. Here, I'm just going to go Ezekiel Elliott. I think the fact that we could get Ezekiel Elliott 8th overall, because of the fact of the matter here, just showing you guys the draft board, the first couple of picks. After Jonathan Taylor, you see Alvin Kamara, great value there at pick number 5. Then Tyreek Hill, the first pass catcher off the board, followed by Nick Chubb. So that allows us to go and get Ezekiel Elliott, someone that I'm personally high on. I have him as a borderline top 5 running back. What I'm hoping for here is I'm getting a little bit greedy that we can get somebody like an Austin Eckler to fall to us after 2 more selections. And if that's the case, I would be absolutely ecstatic getting both Ezekiel Elliott and Austin Eckler. You can see that Saquon Barkley is still on the board, and obviously that's because of his PUP designation. We don't know if he's going to be available week 1, week 2, even though, that's apparently not enough to scare off the individual that just took him with the 12th overall pick. But here, to me, this is a no-brainer of a selection. Yes, Travis Kelce is quote-unquote the next best available player. You see guys like Calvin Ridley, guys like Joe Mixon. No. Austin Eckler is my guy. I would have taken him 8th overall. So the fact that I got Ezekiel Elliott and Austin Eckler is a big-time win for me, at least in my eyes. But again, just kind of going through the first round, McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, Henry. I mentioned the Jonathan Taylor selection, 4th overall. I believe that was a very big reach given the circumstance. Alvin Kamara, great value. Tyreek Hill, the first pass catcher, followed by Nick Chubb, allowing us to take Ezekiel Elliott and kind of gamble to see if a player that we really liked with Austin Eckler would fall to us. Then Devontae Adams, the second pass catcher, Aaron Jones, another player that I'm getting higher and higher on. I think he's got a very solid chance of being a borderline top 5 running back as well. Stephon Diggs then, and then Saquon Barkley now is probably going to be a 2nd round selection. I think that probably fits with the consensus of what you're going to see. Then we take Austin Eckler. I love the combination of Zeke and Eckler. Travis Kelce then goes. Probably one of the latest points in time I've seen Travis Kelce go. The guy is usually a slam dunk 1st round selection, followed by a run on rushers with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Antonio Gibson, and Najee Harris. So CEH is slowly but surely making his way into a surefire 2nd round pick. In fact, above guys like Antonio Gibson and Najee Harris and Joe Mixon. So I think that's pretty important, kind of just seeing where this ADP is trending for CEH, him being on the Chiefs offense, the main running back for the team, obviously very, very valuable. Antonio Gibson, I love that pairing with Alvin Kamara. Then Najee Harris with Jonathan Taylor. That's one I'm iffy about. You guys know how I feel about Najee Harris and that suspect offensive line for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Then Calvin Ridley towards the end of the 2nd round. Great value, followed by Joe Mixon and Justin Jefferson. So nothing too crazy there, in my opinion. We start the 3rd round with a run on pass catchers. which I was kind of hoping wouldn't be the case because we need a couple pass catchers here to fall to us since we've gotten very, very running back heavy. But so far, we've gotten Darren Waller, A.J. Brown, DeAndre Hopkins, DK Metcalf, and Terry McLaurin. Now, I believe that Keenan Allen is going to be the next best available player. Him or Allen Robinson, you see it here. Now, normally I would say Keenan Allen and Austin Eckler. That is a little bit too much LA Charger heavy. But I think Keenan Allen is by far and away the best wide receiver at this point in time. I'm not even debating it here. I'm embracing the LA Charger tandem. Look, if the Chargers have a week where they struggle, then so be it. We're probably going to struggle as well. But it seems like, in my opinion, especially in PPR formats, Allen and Eckler are some of the safest players. I feel like they're not going to get you less than 10 points a game, so they're not going to be the reason why you lose a week, again, in my opinion. So I'm not too worried. As far as running back and wide receiver from the same team are concerned, I think Allen and Eckler are two of the safer ones, so I feel pretty good about that. But we've got two more picks until our turn again. CeeDee Lamb was selected. I was wondering if he would fall to us, but he was selected right after our Keenan Allen pick. Before Keenan Allen, who we drafted there in the third round, you saw J.K. Dobbins, Patrick Mahomes. I don't like that Patrick Mahomes selection. I don't like that J.K. Dobbins selection considering Chris Carson was there. And then George Kittle was the last pick in the third round, followed by Chris Carson. Now here you could argue, yeah, we really, really need a guy like a, T.J. Hawkinson because he's probably not going to fall to us. We could really use a guy like an Allen Robinson, one of those PPR guys. I was going to say even potentially David Montgomery. But we're in a really interesting situation right now where DeAndre Swift is also on the board. I think he's a very, very reliable, PPR option. Guys are going to say, it's a 1-2 punch. You see it here per the quote from Dan Campbell. So maybe we're just better off going with a wide receiver, a guy like Allen Robinson. We need to go a second wide receiver since I think, we hit the running backs very, very hard with our first two selections. And Keenan Allen and Allen Robinson, getting them where we did, I think that was incredible, incredible value. So I'm pretty happy about that. Obviously, I would have loved to have gotten DeAndre Swift and Robert Woods as well. But, I think there's a chance maybe we can get Cooper Kupp in the 5th round. Again, much higher likelihood now because this is obviously a 10-team league. So a lot of these teams are going to be relatively stacked. That's why I love the opportunity to get Ezekiel Elliott and then Austin Eckler with our first two selections. And now I'm just getting the best available wide receivers from here. Just getting a very good value in my opinion. But after our Allen Robinson pick, you see Chris Godwin, you see DJ Moore. Again, man, I would have picked Robert Woods ahead of those guys. So I would have picked DeAndre Swift ahead of him. Speaking of, he just goes with the second to last pick in the 4th round. Incredible, incredible value. One of the best values in this entire draft. You see Miles Sanders as a 4th round selection. I think that's probably, kind of accurate. Again, this is a 10-team league. So the 36th pick overall, if it was a 12-team, would be the final pick in the 3rd round. But Miles Sanders scares me, that backfield with the Philadelphia Eagles. I think it could be a running back by committee type of situation. I don't think he has that high of an upside in PPR like a DeAndre Swift would. Then you see Mike Evans, Amari Cooper. So Amari Cooper, somebody that's kind of falling here, obviously with him being on the PUP list. So it's kind of circumstantial. We'll see if he's, doing better once we get closer to the start of week 1. But right now, that's why you see CeeDee Lamb being picked pretty much an entire round earlier. Now, afterwards, DeAndre Swift, Josh Jacobs, and a little bit of a run on quarterbacks in the 5th round. You see Josh Allen, you see Robert Woods. Tremendous, tremendous value on Robert Woods in the 5th round. Wow. Darrell Henderson, then Kyler Murray. I was kind of hoping Kyler Murray would fall to us, and Julio Jones, and then T.J. Hawkinson just went. Ooh, that was kind of a situation where it was worst case scenario for us. I was hoping either, T.J. Hawkinson or, Lamar Jackson would fall to us. Right now, I could kind of gamble and, take a chance on Kyle Pitts not being drafted. We'll see. I think that's probably the way I'm going to go, and then instead take somebody like a Cooper Kupp, who I'm very high on, and I said if he falls to us, I would be very happy with. So I'm kind of gambling here that Kyle Pitts isn't selected by Team 9 since, I know that he won't be selected by Team 10, who already has a tight end. So, kind of doing your homework there. But if TJ Hawkinson was still there and so was Cooper Kupp, it would have been a much tougher pick, and I probably would have leaned TJ Hawkinson just because there's still so many great wide receivers on the board. I mean, look at it. Tyler Lockett, Adam Thielen, Deontay Johnson, T. Higgins. So a long, long list. There goes Adam Thielen. So I'm not really worried about Kyle Pitts going here. I'm worried about Kyle Pitts going right here with this pick right before me. And if he goes there, I'm going to be a little bit heartbroken. Maybe going to be a little bit, panicking in terms of what to do. But, just to prepare for that situation, maybe we could just go best available running back, probably Myles Gaskin in this situation. Tyler Lockett, another really, really good pick. Deontay Johnson. At this point, probably just go best available player, highest upside player. And of course, we kind of predicted it. Kyle Pitts goes here with the pick right before us. So in retrospect, we probably should have gone Kyle Pitts in the 5th round, but we got a little bit greedy with Cooper Kupp. Now we're going to take a beating at that tight end position, and I'm kicking myself. I really, really am. So I'm just going to go high upside player here. I'm going to go Deontay Johnson, load up on some wide receivers. Quarterbacks are kind of in that next tier of guys, so I'm not really in love with any of these options. But the way this started, the first 4 rounds were absolutely amazing. I mean, getting Cooper Kupp in the 5th round is also tremendous value, but we should have just switched the order of our selection. We should have gone Kyle Pitts and then gone a flex player. So that's kind of a situation where we got a little bit greedy. We were hoping to get both of our guys, Cooper Kupp being the preferred wide receiver, and kind of gambling that Kyle Pitts wouldn't be selected. But, again, live and learn type of situation. Mark Andrews, I didn't want to take him there. Again, I'm not the biggest Mark Andrews fan. I think that he's not going to get enough volume. I think that there's so many new targets there. I'm a big Rashad Bateman fan. So to me, Mark Andrews, he is below TJ Hawkinson and below Kyle Pitts. But after our Deontay Johnson pick, you see Brandon Ayuk, Mark Andrews, Russell Wilson, Trey Sermon. A little bit too early, in my opinion, for Trey Sermon, especially since Raheem Mostert is expected to be the starting running back for the San Francisco 49ers. So keep that in mind. And then a run on tight ends, Tyler Higbee, Dallas Goedert, and then Tyler Lockett at the end of the 6th round. Wow, that is amazing, amazing value. We were considering him potentially in the 5th round, potentially in the 6th round. So keep all those things in mind. Again, we got a little bit unlucky that both Lamar Jackson and TJ Hawkinson were selected before us in the 5th round. But you can't be mad at getting Cooper Kupp as your flex wide receiver. I think we've gotten a trio of wide receivers, and I'm not even including Deontay Johnson in this group, that are all PPR studs. And then Deontay Johnson, if one of those wide receivers struggles, I think he's an excellent fallback option as well. If we look at this draft so far, I think this would be a great example of just going best player available, kind of, ignoring, I would say, the specific positions of like quarterback, tight end, having to address them early on. We've just gone, I would argue, the best available player round by round by round. We haven't necessarily reached for a position. So that could be something to keep in mind. And again, I'm going to do it here. Myles Gaskin is still on the board. Myles Gaskin should not be on the board at the end of the 7th round. You want to give me great value picks, I'm going to take great value picks. I mean, are you kidding me? I felt bad that I didn't get Kyle Pitts or, a Lamar Jackson, but the fact that I got Deontay Johnson and Myles Gaskin is absolutely insane. Yes, we can attribute it to the fact that there have been some defenses being drafted because of auto pick, but still, Myles Gaskin would have been a selection at some point in the 7th round. That is tremendous value. He falls to us there. So we've got Zeke, Austin Eckler, and a pretty good bench piece in Myles Gaskin in terms of upside, I would say as well. Now, everybody has a quarterback on top of that, so we can wait at that position. We don't have to rush it. We can just, take our time. As far as quarterbacks that we would take, Again, I would rank them Matthew Stafford, knowing that we have the stack with Cooper Kupp. Justin Herbert, unfortunately, is not an option. We would have gone very, very LA Charger heavy then. Herbert, Allen, and Austin Eckler. That would have been something else. So right now, again, probably Matthew Stafford is going to be the choice at quarterback whenever we get to that point. Right now, looking at these players, I could also go a Melvin Gordon. I'm looking at the tight ends. Pretty much everybody has a tight end. So we don't have to rush that position either, honestly. So right now, I'm not worried about Logan Thomas. I'm in a great position to continue just taking the best player overall. And I'm going to take a chance on Damian Harris. You guys know that I'm a big fan of his. So continuing to load up on running back talent. And probably in the next round, I'm going to go ahead and get a quarterback and a tight end just so we can, kind of wrap this thing up and give you guys a better idea of what the grade on this team would be. But again, let's scroll down here so you can get a better view of these last couple of selections. And we've gotten to the point where, again, it's kickers, it's defenses. So not really the most, educational type of 8th round. But you see Melvin Gordon, you see Ronald Jones, great value picks there. They were guys that I was considering instead of a Damian Harris if he wasn't available. T. Higgins is still there as well. So he's somebody that I would have zero problem with selecting. And again, you're just going to see defenses here. So I'm not really going to comment on that too much. At this point in time, you all know who some of the deeper bench pieces that I really like are: Brendan Cooks, Russell Gage, Antonio Brown, Marvin Jones, Darnell Mooney. So 5 wide receivers right there. Guys like a Michael Carter at the running back position. Guys like a Damian Harris or Ronald Jones. So even more examples. They've already been drafted, so we won't have a chance to pick them. But here, I'm just going to go and select Matthew Stafford already so that we can go and add him to the starting roster so we can get a starting quarterback on the team. And, I'm just going to afterwards probably get a tight end as well, so that, again, we can get a full picture of what this quote-unquote starting roster would look like. But if you've waited this long in a 10-team league and, unless your league mates are drafting backup tight ends and backup quarterbacks this early, this close together, I would say continue to just take the best player available. I love the values that we got in every single player. Yes, we got sniped and we were heartbroken a couple times, but I think in terms of how you rebound and how you just then move on just by selecting depth, selecting great value, huge upside, we did an A-plus job of that. Didn't panic, which I love. So a good lesson there, because right now our bench, I think probably one of the best benches in this entire league. Deontay Johnson, Gaskin, Damian Harris, and I think we've got a very solid group of wide receivers, running backs, and flex options. Now I'm adding Matthew Stafford like I finally promised. So that has been taken care of. And, getting that Matthew Stafford Cooper Kupp stack, that's always nice. I do think that Stafford will be a top 10 quarterback for what it's worth. So I'm not too worried at the quarterback position. If anything, I would have hoped that if I had to sacrifice one position, quarterback or tight end, to get somebody like a TJ Hawkinson or Kyle Pitts, I would have sacrificed quarterback and then gone with a guy like a Matthew Stafford. Ultimately, I couldn't get a Lamar Jackson or a TJ Hawkinson or a Kyle Pitts. So unfortunate, but it is what it is. If we had gotten TJ Hawkinson here and then gotten Matthew Stafford afterwards, I'd straight up call this an A roster. But the way we circumvented the situation with the snipes, with things like that, I think that was great. So really, really useful information there. So right now, again, I'll probably just go and select a tight end here so you can see that last option. I'd probably select T. Higgins otherwise, or Brendan Cooks, but let's just, for the sake of filling out this roster, go with Logan Thomas, and we'll call this a wrap pretty much. I think that we did a pretty good job here. I'll give us a B to B plus type of grade on this team. But hey, let me know your thoughts in the comment section along again with any questions you guys might have. And if you enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe, and lastly, check us out online at alldaypigskin.com. And while you're there, get yourself a copy of the 2021 ADP Fantasy Football Draft Guide. Details in the description. But in the meantime, we'll see you guys in future videos.